Okay, so I finally decided to make this video here on Motorfest, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, I thought about making this probably months ago, but I was like, you know what, maybe right now is the perfect time to do it. So, Motorfest is going to make me pretty mad, but also frustrated at the exact same time, and there is going to be a reason for that, and do not worry, I'm going to explain why I feel that way. I'm not just saying that out of pretty much thin air or something like that, guys, I am going to explain this because I do feel like I'm most likely not the only person in this boat. Now, there is going to be a few different things here that does make me feel this way, but one of the biggest ones right off the bat is simply down to the wasted potential or the wasting of potential in Motorfest. A lot of people can argue that, yeah, no, dude, this game is not wasting potential, but here's the thing, man. It really is because there is a lot of things they could easily do in this game that could make it 100 times better and most likely attract a lot more players to it. As y'all know, I did end up talking about this in that one PvP video to where that would greatly make this game in a way better place, but also probably bring a lot of players back into it and also new players on top of it because everybody has been asking for it. Again, there's some wasted potential there not having other PvP modes when the game would probably do way better with having it in there. On top of all of that, guys, one thing that really does frustrate me is everybody can argue that we probably have like this might be the best racing game or Forza might be the best racing game or Need for Speed or Car X3, and the biggest way I look at this is pretty much every racing game, to me at least, is going to be going against each other in a competitive aspect, and I feel like it's good that all the games are going against each other, which will hopefully in time make one game improve or, you know, get better if that game has a lot more players, or that game's getting a lot of new players and the other game's kind of losing players. You'd probably be like, oh, well, we need to make changes here or do this or do that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like right there would end up maybe making one of them wake up or go, you know what? We should probably add something that the community wants or, you know, listen to the entire fan base, aka our players, to get this game in a better situation. So a better way I could probably explain this is looking at the current open world racing genre right now. I'm not going to include Gran Turismo 7 on PlayStation because it really is not in the same aspects of Forza Horizon 5 or even something like Motorfest. And on top of that, Car X3. I mean, it's pretty much going to be a completely different game, and that's only going to be on PlayStation. But now we're going to have other games that can compete against Motorfest, giving players other things they can do. And with that, looking at each game going, okay, well, every single game is going to offer its own unique thing. I mean, in Forza Horizon 5, it's going to pretty much be the only big open world game that's going to be fully crossplay, and that is probably going to be a big thing there. You're going to have an insane car list, you got event labs and stuff, and the game overall is going to attract a lot of players to it, especially if you're like a car person or you just want to build cars and stuff. So yeah, Forza is going to be unique because there's pretty much no game on the market that has that car list and what you can do with the builds and stuff. So boom, Car X Street's also going to have some of the most insane customization I've ever seen. The tuning on there's also going to be wild and stuff. So yeah, that game is also going to be very unique. Also, I have heard it is going to be one of the better maps as well on top of it. People really do like it. So yeah, and then if we flip over and look at Motorfest though, you are then going to see other unique things. I mean, this is literally the only open world racing game that is going to have planes, power boats, dirt bikes, motorcycles, and a jet, bro. And that's the thing, though, guys. I gotta come out and say this right now. I understand the game is going to have some classes that pretty much no other game has in it, and that really is going to make it unique 100% because no other racing game has it, for right now, that is. And I feel like having that potential there really is pretty much wasting that into the ground is honestly a huge L, man. Like, for example, we are going to have motorcycles and stuff. Everybody agrees the bikes have to be changed, bro. They need an entire rework when it comes to their handling, and they really should be separated into their own category because they are completely useless at the moment. On top of that, we're also going to have power boats and planes, which are fun to use, even though a lot of players don't even bother because, for one, they barely have any events for them, and there's not going to be a lot of new events for them ever coming into the game either. They did end up finally fixing the motocross bikes after a year and a half of them being into Motorfest, and I'm still not the biggest fan of how they do end up feeling and stuff like that, but I'm going to guess right now and say the motocross bikes are going to remain the same as they currently are, so nothing is most likely going to change there. On top of that, guys, I almost really forgot about this. We're then going to have Monster and Demolition Derby, which again are both going to be very unique classes in a game where pretty much no other game has them. We're going to have something like Demolition Derby, which if you look at the game right now, there is no events for them, which I'm honestly not that surprised about. Now, yes, before you say it, we are going to have Demolition Royale. Nobody cares about that game mode anymore. No one's really playing it. That is pretty much the only place to use a Demolition Derby vehicle compared to the Crew 2 having the full-on Demolition Derby events, which I really do miss those. But with that, you are basically going to have a class in the game that pretty much has no events whatsoever. And yes, before you say it, there is going to be something along the lines of the custom mode, but who is going to want to drive a Demolition Derby car in a regular event where a hypercar belongs in it, and you could pretty much do 140 miles an hour? Like, that's just not going to be that fun. It's not like you're bumping into the other drivers and stuff like that. It really is a useless category, and I honestly think they probably should have just removed it. On top of that, again, we're then going to have the Monster Trucks, which pretty much has one event in the game at the moment. There actually might be two now. I really have not been paying attention at all there. But either way, though, if you're going to have Monster Trucks, why not have other events in them? Or even those scoring things that were going to be in the Crew 2 were going to be fun. And there's none of those to be found in Motorfest, man. Again, you're going to have unique class in a game to where no other game is going to have them. Why not have cool events for them? Which also brings me over to the next vehicle. Yeah, this one really gets me. The Jet, bro. The Jet, okay? The Jet is going to be pretty dang awesome. I was surprised when I heard a Jet was coming into Motorfest because they were focusing on some odd things there. But hey, we're going to have a Jet in the game now, right? That's dope. But, and there's a but here, why would you add a brand new vehicle category into the game and basically have no races for it? Does that make any sense? And that's the thing. The reason why I say this is we're going to have the Jet. Again, the Jet's cool. I'm not saying it isn't. But why not have some unique races to that Jet? Like we had that one summit a while ago to where you could use it in that Longy Maui race or something. Why not have some different events like that for the Jet or something, bro? They could easily do it. Have a mini playlist. There doesn't have to be a storyline to it, bro. We don't need all that. Have a mini playlist with like 5 or 6 Jet events. That would have been dope, allowing players to level the Jet up in new races instead of, you know what? Let's go farm the exact same air races we've been doing for the last 2 years. Does that make any sense, man? Like, I was thinking about this going, yo, I gotta level my Jet up and I have to go farm pretty much one event that's going to be the best way to do it, because you can pretty much skip every single checkpoint in that set event and then level the plane up that way as fast as possible. Once it's maxed out, what do you do with it? Well, it is now going to be set up for summits when they finally allow you to use it, because you can't really run the Jet in anything else. I don't know, man. It just doesn't make sense on the potential that this game really does have with something like a Jet. Why would you not have events or something in there to really bring players in and go, yo, I want to use this thing, bro. This thing is dope. But instead you're going to look at that Jet and go, oh, so I leveled it up. What do I do with it now? You can go into the custom mode again and do some of the races you have already done probably 50 times already with it, instead of having a brand new event, man. Like, I just don't understand what they were thinking. Yeah, you could probably do some of the Red Bull events with it. Cool. Either way, that's like 1 or 2 races, not that much. I really don't understand why there's not a mini playlist for them that would bring more players in. And this is something I really think about with more variety in basically every single category. We're going to have so many unique classes in here. If they did fix the motorcycles, I feel like a lot more people would probably enjoy them and also use them, because, you know, if you're doing PvP, no reason to use a motorcycle. If you're doing a summit, no reason to use a motorcycle because they are way too slow unless it forces you. But if it is going to be no restriction street tier 2 and you can use a Lambo or something like an MV Augusta, yeah, what are people going to pick, bro? Probably going to be very obvious, because not only are you going to turn slower, your overall top speed is slower, and the way the bikes handle really makes me feel like I'm pretty much riding a refrigerator at times, and I do know that's not the way to do that. They could probably do a better job at it, but at this point, I really don't know if we're ever going to see changes with that. A lot of this stuff really does frustrate me because I feel like TCM could really be amazing, and most likely in a way better place than it currently is at the moment. Yeah, you could probably argue that TCM is not doing bad or something like that, but you know what, guys? Looking at the player counts in the summits and looking at the overall, like, timeline thing of where people are ranked and stuff, you can definitely tell people aren't playing it as much, and this game really is going to continue going down that path unless they really go, oh my goodness, we gotta wake up and go, yo, our game is actually very cool. We really do need to build upon this and make it worthwhile. That way it's going to bring players into it. I mean, you have so many unique classes in there that are not being utilized, and a lot of things that really would set this game apart. Here's the biggest thing. If you were to remove the planes, the powerboats, the motorcycles, the monster derby, you had all regular vehicles in the game. Get rid of the helicopter. Nobody cares about that thing either. That's a whole other thing, by the way. They brought the heli in from the Crew 2, but pretty much have no events for that thing either besides the custom mode of the same events we already did. And man, it makes me want to smack my head on my desk sometimes, I'm not going to lie. But if you are looking at that, though, removing all of those classes and the jet and all that stuff as well, this game would only have cars in it, bro. Would this game really be able to make it with just cars? I'm saying that if you took all the unique, quote-unquote, unique classes away, like the plane and the powerboat and the motorcycles, would Motorfest really be that unique compared to other racing games? I mean, if you took all that stuff away and compared it to something like Forza, yeah, this game is probably going to have a better map. Oh my goodness, a better map. If there's nothing to do in the map, then what are you going to do, man? I do understand a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of Forza Horizon 5, but that game really is going to hit the point on everything else besides the map, and I really do think Forza Horizon 6 really is going to pretty much fix that issue, which honestly is probably going to make Motorfest or even put Motorfest in a worse place than it currently is. And I did hear something about a rumor about motorcycles coming into Forza. I don't know if that's going to happen. But honestly, I really wish they would add motorcycles into Forza Horizon 6. That would be absolutely amazing. And if they were to also do that, yeah, Motorfest, you might be in trouble there, bro. And that's the thing, though, like, from what I did say before, that's coming down to a very simple question. If they were to get rid of all the unique classes that are going to make the entire Crew franchise very unique, what would set Motorfest apart from something like Forza or even CarX Street? And you could probably even bring in Need for Speed, even though there's no Need for Speed for a couple years, but still, what is going to really set Motorfest apart from those games? I mean, a lot of people are arguing that if you did take those classes out, well, there really isn't going to be a lot of different things about this game or something that's about it that's really going to make it unique. So my biggest thing is you are going to have that why not run with it, man. You're going to have the motorcycles, the planes, the powerboats. Make a lot of those classes pretty much more unique, make them more fun, have more races for them, include them in PvP, have class-based PvP for them, you know, rework the motorcycles, make them worthwhile so you can, you know, actually pick one and enjoy it for that matter. I feel like that would really go so much farther and most likely have a lot more people playing the game. Have more jet events in there. That way the jet's going to be more useful instead of farming the exact same races you already did. That way you're going to have new events. That would definitely bring more players in because they get to fly the jet and do some new races with it. Who would have thought? Even some helicopter events, bro. Have some cool stuff in there that's going to make these classes fun. And I'm going to say this right now, bring back some of the arena things for Demolition Derby, also for the monster truck. Make both of those classes also more entertaining, and you can also enjoy them more. That way you're not going to have to farm some random event or something that does not even make sense for them. Overall, though, guys, I am really curious to know your thoughts on this in the comments below. To be honest, I could probably keep ranting because I know Motorfest has a ton of potential. It really could be so much better than it currently is. But you know what? I kind of feel like the overall potential of this game really is being wasted. And I kind of feel like in some ways they're also like taking their time with updates, or, you know, it kind of feels like a lot of the things coming out in the game do feel a bit slower. And I'm kind of wondering why they're kind of slowing down instead of like upping a gear or something. It almost feels like they took more devs off the game. They're probably working on the next Crew game. And I feel like it's almost like a skeleton crew bringing out some updates on this game and stuff. And the biggest thing that's really going to judge this entire thing, though, is what they're going to do in Season 8. I'm going to touch on like my predictions on that in a separate video. I'm really hoping that's going to be a crazy big update because it honestly has to be. Because again, this game can easily take over a lot of players and definitely do some amazing things, at least within the next 6 to 8 months, because again, we're going to have Grand Theft Auto 6, which is going to completely smash basically every game. And then Forza Horizon 6 is most likely going to take over the entire racing genre for at least a little while until something else does end up releasing. If the next Crew game is going to be 2027, they are going to have to verse most likely a new Need for Speed game by then. So yeah, things are probably going to be interesting, but I really don't understand why they'd have something like Motorfest and then kind of just slow something down when they could easily kind of speed it up and get this game in such a better position. Again, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below.